Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namasyam Naram Chaiva Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tojayam Madhirayi Ashtaprayeshu Bhattreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktirbhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namaha. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjanashalakam Chakshurun.
Hare Krishna.
Sarvadota Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagalita Shri Vishakandita Swami Natinam Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prashari Shri Paschati Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Prayate Krishnaya Chaitanya Bhagavate He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopakta Radha Kanta Anubhustate Tapta Kanchana Gauraki Radhe Danda Shari Vishravanu Sute Devi Pranamami Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So continuing from the 22nd verse, fifth canto, first chapter. Astapya Swayamati Vishama Vishaya Vishar Jalashaya Shaya Upara Rama. Is Rishi Kumar book?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Oh, there is some little network problem in my place, but I will try my best. Swayambhu Manu, with the assistance of Lord Brahma, thus fulfilled his desire. With the permission of great sage Narada, he delivered to his son the governmental responsibility for maintaining and protecting all the planets of the universe. He thus achieved relief from the most dangerous, poisonous ocean of material desire. Shambhu Manu was practically hopeless because such a great personality as Narad was instructing his son Priyavrata not to accept household life. Now he had very pleased that Lord Brahma had interfered by inducing his son to accept the responsibility for ruling the government of the universe. From Bhagavad Gita, we can get information that Vivashmat Manu was the son of the sun god, and his son Mara Ishwaku ruled this planet Earth. मुझे लीव मिलेगा
हो नेटवर्क इश्यू दिसतोय त्यांचा.
हो, मला वाटलं माझं आहे, पण नंतर लक्षात आलं त्यांचं नेटवर्क.
कारण की त्यांची स्क्रीन दिसत नव्हती ऍक्च्युली.
स्क्रीनवर
शेअर
वाटलं.
करत होते ते. स्क्रीन अजिबात दिसत नव्हती.
मला वाटलं की माझ्याकडे नेटवर्कचा प्रॉब्लेम आहे.
हम्म.
माझा आवाज येतोय का तुम्हाला?
साक्षी अच्युत प्रभू, आर यू देअर प्रभू?
हा येतो मी. माझा आवाज येतोय प्रभू?
हो हो.
ओके. आता येतोय
प्रभूजी
का?
प्रभूजींचा नेटवर्कचा प्रॉब्लेम आहे. थांबूया, आपण वाट पाहूया.
Rishi Kumar, bro, is it audible?
Yes, Prabhu, we can hear you. But we are not able to see you, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, and the audio is little breaking.
Okay, you're able to see me?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
I think there is a network issue at your place, Prabhu.
What is not breaking? Huh?
Your presentation was also not seen. Your screen was not seen.
Rishi Kumar Prabhu, your internet is stable or
Huh, Prabhu?
is your internet stable?
I think so. I don't know.
Because your frame was freezing at all.
Oh, maybe. मग कदाचित आमच्याकडे पण इंटरनेट कमीच आहे तसं.
आता ओके आता okay.
नाही, पण थोडं नेटवर्क आज कमीच आहे आमच्याकडे इकडे. काय झालंय, वायफाय बंद झालंय आणि मी हॉटस्पॉट वर चालवतोय. तर मोबाईलच्या हॉटस्पॉट वर होतं कमी जास्ती असं.
थोडासा मोबाईल हॉटस्पॉट अनरिलायबल होतो.
आज वायफायचा जरा प्रॉब्लेमच चालू आहे. कालपासूनच चालू आहे. Shall I resume reading, Prabhu?
What you can do is, if you have that 20-second verse now, you can read a translation from the book and then the purport. I'm joining
Let's
from
go
the
ahead.
LAN. I'm connected. Yeah, please start. Translation and purport you can do.
Yeah, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Swambhu Manu, with the assistance of Lord Brahma, thus fulfilled his desire. With the permission of great sage Narada, he delivered the sun, the government responsibility for maintaining and protecting all the planets of the universe. He thus achieved relief from the most dangerous poisonous ocean of material desire. Swami Manu was practically hopeless because such a great personality as Narada was instructing his son Priyavrat not to accept household life. Now, he was also pleased that Lord Brahma had interfaced by introducing his son to accept responsibility for ruling the government of the universe. From Bhagavad Gita, we get information of that Vivaswat Manu was the sun god, and that his son Maharaj Ishwak who ruled this planet Earth. Swambhu Manu, however, appeared to have been in charge of entire universe, and thus he entrusted to his son Maharaj Priyavrat the responsibility for maintaining and protecting all the planetary systems. Dharma Mandala means planet. This earth, for instance, is called Dhara Mandala. Akila, however, means all, the universal. It is therefore difficult to understand where Maharaj Prithviraj was situated. But from this literature, his position certainly appears greater than that of Vivaswata, for he was entrusted with all the planetary system of the entire universe. Should I go on reading, Prabhu?
Yeah, complete the purport.
No, it's a 2-page purport. I'll read it. Another significant statement is that Swambhu Manu took great satisfaction from abnegating the responsibility for ruling all the planet systems of the universe. At present, politicians are very eager to take charge of the government. And they engage their men in canvassing from door to door to get votes to win the position of president or a similar exalted office. On the contrary, however, even herein we find that Maharaj Priyavrat had to be persuaded by Lord Brahma to accept the post of emperor of the entire universe. Similarly, his father Swambhu Manu felt relieved to entrust the universal government to Priyavrat. Thus, it is evident that the kings and executive heads of the government in the Vedic times never accepted their positions for sense gratification. Such exalted kings, who were known as the Rajarishi, ruled only to maintain and protect the kingdom for the welfare of the city. The history of Priyavrat and Swambhu Manu describe how exemplary responsible monarchs perform their duties of government with disinterest, keeping themselves always aloof from the contamination of material affairs. Material affairs have here been compared to the ocean of poison. They have been described in a similar way by Sri Narottam Das Thakur in one of his songs. Samsara Visanale Diva Nishi Hiya Jale Judaite Na Kainu Upay. My heart is always burning the fire of existence. I have been no provisions for getting out of it. Golo Kera Prema Dharna Hari Namo Sankirtan Ratina Jan Mila Prema. The only remedy is Harinam Sankirtan, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is imported from the spiritual word Golokanda. How unfortunate I am that I have no attraction for this. Manu wanted to seek shelter at the Lord's with his Lord. And therefore, when his son Priyavrat took charge of the worldly affairs, Manu was very relieved. This is a system of Vedic civilization. At the end of life, one must free himself from worldly affairs and completely engage in the service of the Lord. The verse Surastri Vara Anumatrina is also significant. Manu entrusted the government to his son with the permission of the great saint Narada. This is particularly mentioned because although Narada Muni wanted Priyavrat to become free from all material affairs, when Priyavrat Maharaj took charge of the universe by the request of Lord Brahma and Manu, Narada was also very pleased.
So, was writing here. Surasi Vara Anumati. Manu entrusted the government to his son, permission of the great saint Narada, and Priyavrat became free from all material affairs. And the Priyavrat took charge of the universe by request of Lord Brahma and Manu. Narada was also very pleased. Yeah, this was the continuation. So, next verse is the important verse. Rishikumar bro, can you make me host or co-host so that I can start the recording?
Oh, am I the host?
Yeah, I think you are the host.
Oh, I have become the host. I'm making progress.
Mm.
Yes, Prabhu, you are.
Recording is in progress, right? Just share.
Yes, Prabhu, you are host.
Yes, yes. Yeah, the next verse is 23rd, which was mentioned in the first purport yesterday, 5.1.1. This 23rd verse was mentioned. Why is that? Priyavrat also pure devotee. He had to enter into the varnashram aspect. Basically, again, had to enter the material life by getting married. So that is answered in the next verse. Itaha vavah itaha vavah. It's astonishment. Itaha vavah sa jagati patir ईश्वरेच्छाया दिनी विषेत कर्माधिकारो अखिल जगत् बंध वंशण परानुभावस्य भगवत् आदि पुरुषांग्री युगलानावर्त ज्ञानानुभावेन परिरन्दित कषायशायो वदातु पि मानवर्धनो महतां महितलम् अनुशशासः. Yes.
That's following the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Maharaj Priyavrat fully engaged in worldly affairs, yet he always thought of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are the cause of liberation from all material things. Although Priyavrat Maharaj is completely free from all the material contamination, he ruled the material world just to orders, just to honor the orders of the
Yes.
Very important.
Yeah. So Chakravarti writes, this verse answers the question posed in the first verse. How did Priyavrat enjoy household life? Itiha vavah means thus, in this way. He meditated on the lotus feet of the Lord, who had clear power to destroy the bondage of the whole world. Priyavrat had burned up all impurities in the heart. Parirandita kashaya asaya. Though he was most pure, avadataha, he increased his respect by following the order of Brahma. Prabhupada also continues the same thing. You can read Prabhupada purport, Prabhuji. Basically, the word manovardhana
The
mahata.
words mano vardhano mahatam, just to show honors to superior, are very significant. Although Maharaj Priyavrat was already a liberated person and had no attraction to material things, he engaged himself fully in government affairs just to show the respect to Lord Brahma. Arjuna had also acted in the same way. Arjuna had no desire to participate in political affairs or fighting at Kurukshetra. But in order to do so by the Supreme Lord Krishna, he executed those duties very nicely. One may always think of lotus feet of the Lord is certainly above all the contamination of the material world. Maharaj Priyavrat therefore was a liberated person and was amongst the highest of yogis. But superficially he became the emperor of the universe in accordance with the orders of the Lord Brahma. Showing respect to his superior is the way was another of his extraordinary qualifications. The devotee who actually advances is not afraid of anything, provided he has the ability to execute the orders of the God. That is the proper explanation of why Priyavrat engaged in worldly affairs, although he was a liberated person. Also, only because of this principle does a Mahabhagavad, who had nothing to do with the material world, come down to the second platform of devotion, which is the glories of the Lord.
People is saying why Priyavrat, who's Uttam Bhagavad, had to become a second platform. Just as the Mahabhagavad comes down, Madhyamadikar level to preach. Similarly, Priyavrat was Uttam Bhakta. He had to come to the bodily consciousness of life to do administration so that the living entities can get an opportunity to revive their Krishna consciousness and go back to God. For maintaining the universal affairs, he had to come down. So this is answer to the first verse of Sukhdeva Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj to Sukhdeva Goswami. This was quoted there in that purport of Chakravarti 5.123. अतः च दुहितरं प्रजापते विश्वकर्मण पये मे वरिष्मतिं नाम तस्याम् उहावावः आत्मजान् आत्मसमान शिलगुणकर्म रूप विरोधारण दश भावयां बभूव कन्यां च Yashim Urjasvati Namaha. So this verse speaks about his marriage. He got married to Duhitaram Prajapatir Vishwakarmanaha, the daughter of Vishwakarma Prajapati, whose name was Barishmati. Nama Tasyam Oha Vabhava Atmajan. And he had sons. Atma Samana Shila Gunakarma Rupa Viryodharana Dashabhavayam. 10 sons who were equal in his thought process. Atma Samana, Shila character, Guna qualities, Karma activities, Rupa beauty, Viryodharana, they were all magnanimous like him. And Babhuva Kanyam Cha, Yashim Urjvasvatim Namaha. And he got one daughter. The 11th one was a daughter. Her name was Urjvasvatim. This verse speaks about. Yes. Ramkrishna Prabhu, would you like to read if you are there?
Yes. Thereafter, Maharaj Priyavrata married Barhishmati, a daughter of the Prajapati named Vishwakarma. In her, he begot 10 sons, equal to him in beauty, character, magnanimity, and other qualities. He also begot a daughter, the youngest of all, named Urjaswati. Is my audio clear, Prabhuji?
It's little cracking. It's not breaking, but it is little heavy.
Is it better now, Prabhuji? Is it better now?
Now it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's very good. Very good.
I just connected to different device. Yeah. Since Maharaj Priyavrata was fully trained in the transcendental knowledge, he could have returned home and conducted the business of government as a brahmachari. Instead, however, when he returned to household life, he accepted a wife also. The principle is that when one becomes a grahastha, he must live perfectly in that order, which means he must live peacefully with a wife and children. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's first wife died, his mother requested him to marry for a second time. He was 20 years old and was going to take sannyas at the age of 24. Yet, by the request of his mother, he married. As long as I am in household life, he told his mother, I must have a wife, for household life does not mean staying in a house. Real household life means living in a house with a wife. 3 words in this verse are very significant. Uha Vav.
Recording in progress.
These words are used to express wonder. Priyavrata Maharaj had taken a vow of renunciation, but accepting a wife and begetting children have nothing to do with the path of renunciation. These are activities on the path of enjoyment. It was a source of great wonder, therefore, that Priyavrata Maharaj, who had followed the path of renunciation, had now accepted the path of enjoyment. Should I read the blue part also, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Blue part is the main crux of this fifth canto.
Okay. Yes. Sometimes we are criticized because, although I am a sannyasi, I have taken part in the marriage ceremonies of my disciples. It must be explained, however, that since we have started a Krishna conscious society, and since a human society must also have ideal marriages, to correctly establish an ideal society, we must take part in marrying some of its members. Although we have taken to the path of renunciation. This may be astonishing to persons who are not very interested in establishing Daiva Varnashrama, the transcendental system of 4 orders and 4 social orders and 4 spiritual orders. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, however, wanted to re-establish Daivi Varnashrama. In Daiva Varnashrama, there cannot be acknowledgement of social status according to birthright, because in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the determining considerations are guna and karma, one's qualities and work. It is this Daiva Varnashram that should be established all over the world to continue a perfect society for Krishna consciousness. This may be astounding to foolish critics, but it is one of the functions of a Krishna conscious society.
Yes, so this is what Prabhupada told Daiva Varnashram. At the end, when he was almost leaving his body, he had told that this task is remaining. But as whenever possible, Prabhupada tried to do like arranging marriages, opening gurukuls, starting training children, so that the Varnashram aspect is taken care, Daiva Varnashram. So this is needed because people are not at the level where they can chant Hare Krishna and read Prabhupada books and be peaceful. They need engagement. They need engagement according to their modes. Then that will facilitate them to over a period of time when they become 50, 60 years. That at that time they can go and observe and sit and chant and they can come to the level of Shuddha Bhakti. So this is one of the important, and this whole fifth canto is going to speak on this part, the Varnashram part, which Venugopal is going to take from the Bharat Maharaj section, the third unit of this fifth canto. He will be elaborating more on this aspect of Devi Varnashram, how it is important in ISKCON. Agnidre idmaj, Agnidre idmajjiva, Yajna Bavu, Mahavira, Hiranyareto, Gritaprishta, Savana, Meda Titi, Vitihotra, Kavaya, Iti Sarva Evagni Nama, Namanaha. So these are the names of the 10 sons, which are the name of Agni being mentioned here. Yes. Yes, Ramakrishna, please continue.
Yeah. The 10 sons of Maharaj Priyavrata were named Agnidra, Idma Jivha, Yajnavahu, Mahavira, Hiranyareta, Ghruta Prashtha, Savana, Medha Tithi, Vitihotra, and Kavi. These are also names of Agni, the fire god.
Doing Yajna, you have many Agnis, so there's a different Agni for different rituals. So these are the different names. Etesham Kavir Mahavira Savana iti Traya Asan Urdhvaretasas Ta Atma Vidyayam Arbabhavad Arabhya Krita Parichaya Paramhamsayam Evashramam Abhajam. This shloka speaks about Kavi, Savana, Mahavira. They were Urdhvaretas, means they were Nashtika Brahmacharis and they are perfected in Atma Vidya. And they did not enter into the administration. They lived a life of Paramhamsayam. Yes. So
Yes.
next.
3 amongst these 10, namely Kavi, Mahavira, and Savana, lived in complete celibacy. Thus trained in brahmachari life from the beginning of childhood, they were very conversant with the highest perfection known as the Paramhansa Ashram. Purport. The word Urdhvaretaha in this verse is very significant. Urdhvareta refers to one who can control sex life and who, instead of wasting semen by discharging it, can use this most important substance accumulated in the body to enrich the brain. One who can completely control sex life is able to work wonderfully with his brain, especially in remembering. Thus, students who simply hear Vedic instructions once from their teacher could remember them verbatim without needing to read books, which therefore did not exist in former times. Another significant word is Arbha bhavat, which means from very childhood. Another meaning is from being very affectionate to children. In other words, Paramhansa life is dedicated for the benefit of others. Just as a father sacrifices many things out of affection for his son, great saintly persons sacrifice all kinds of bodily comforts for the benefit of the human society. In this connection, there is a verse concerning the six Goswamis. त्यक्त्वा तूर्णमशेषमण्डलपतिसिनिं श्रेणीं सदा तुच्छवद् भूत्वा गणेशकौ करुणया कौपीनकण्ठाश्रुतौ. Because of their compassion for the poor fallen souls, the six Goswamis gave up their exalted positions as ministers and took vows as mendicants, thus minimizing their bodily wants as far as possible. They each accepted only a loincloth and a begging bowl. Thus they remained in Vrindavan to execute the orders of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by compiling and publishing various Vaishnava literatures.
Yes, the essence of a Paramhamsa life is centered around Swadhyaya, Abhayam Atmasham Shuddhim, Jnana Yoga Avasthita. This is Bhagavad Gita 16.1 to 3. There the three qualifications of a sannyasi is mentioned. That begins with Brahmacharya Ashrama, that is Swadhyaya. 27th verse. Tasmin Uha Va Upashama Shila Paramashraya Sakala Jiva Nikaya Vasasya Bhagavato Vasudevasya Bhitanam Sharanabhutasya Srimacharanaravindra Virata Smaranavi Kalita Paramabhakti Yogano Bhavena Paribhavitantar Hridayadikate Bhagavati Sarvesham Bhutanam Atmabhute Pratyag Atman Evatmanas Tadatmam Avisheshena Samyo. This next verse.
Prabhuji, Apurva Radhika would like to read.
Yes, please, Mataji, please read.
Thus situated in the renounced order from the beginning of their lives, all three of them completely controlled the activities of their senses and thus became great saints. They concentrated their minds always upon the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the resting place of the totality of living entities, and who is therefore celebrated as Vasudev. Lord Vasudev is only shelter of those who are actually afraid of material existence. By constantly thinking of his lotus feet, these three sons of Maharaj Priyavrat became advanced in pure devotional service. By the prowess of their devotional service, they could directly perceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart as a super soul, and realize that there was qualitatively no difference between themselves and him. The Paramahamsa stage is the topmost position in renounced life. In sannyas, the renounced order, there are four stages: Kutichaka, Bahudaka, Paribrajakacharya, and Paramahams. According to Vedic system, when one accepts the renounced order, he stays outside his village in a cottage, and his necessities, especially his food, are supplied from home. This is called Kutichaka stage. When a sannyasi advances further, he no longer accepts anything from home. Instead, he collects his necessities, especially his food, from many places. This system is called Madhukari, which literally means the profession of bumblebees. A bumblebee collect honey from many flowers, a little from each. So sannyasi should beg from door to door, but not accept very much food from any particular house. He should collect a little bit from every house. This is called Bahudaka stage. When a sannyasi is still more experienced, he travels all over the world to preach the glories of Lord Vasudev. He is then known as Paribrajakacharya. The sannyasi reaches the Paramahans stage when he finishes his preaching work and sits down in one place strictly for the sake of advancing in spiritual life. An actual Paramahams is one who completely controls his senses and engages in an unalloyed service to the Lord. Therefore, all three of these sons of Priyavrat, namely Kavi, Mahavira, Savana, were situated in Paramahams stage from the very beginning. Their senses could not disturb them, for their senses were completely engaged in the service of Lord. Therefore, the three brothers are described in this verse as Upasama Silaha. Upasama means completely subdued. Because they completely subdued their senses, they are understood to have been great sages and saints. After subduing their senses, the three brothers concentrated their minds upon the lotus feet of Vasudev, Lord Krishna, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.19, Vasudeva Sarvamitim. The lotus feet of Vasudev are everything. Lord Vasudev is the reservoir of all living entities. When this cosmic manifestation is dissolved, all living entities enter Vishnu Tattvas are Vasudeva Tattvas, and therefore the great sages Kavi, Mahavira, Savana concentrated always upon the lotus feet of Lord Vasudev Krishna. In this way, they could understand that the super soul within the heart is the supreme personality of Godhead, and they could recognize their identity with him. The complete description of this realization is that simply by discharging the unalloyed form of devotional service, one can realize his self completely. The Parama Bhakti Yoga mentioned in this verse means that a living entity, by dint of unalloyed devotional service, has no other interest than the service of the Lord, as described in Bhagavad Gita, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. By Parama Bhakti Yoga, by elevating oneself to the highest platform of loving service, one can automatically be relieved from the bodily concept of life and see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face.
So this has four stages: Kutichaka, Bahudaka, Parivrajaka, Acharya, and Paramhamsa stage. So that is what Yeshua Srila was given us in ISKCON. At this stage, we are not, we can't sit at one place and chant, do Shravanam Kirtanam 24 hours. So therefore, according to our Varna and Ashrama, we do the needful, engage in services, and then at one point of time, Prabhupada told, when we become old, 60s, 65, based on our realization, we can sit in Vrindavan, Mayapur, sit and chant 24 hours a day. So they were at this stage since the beginning. Why? Because Priyavrat Maharaj was at that stage. He was the Uttam Bhakta, and therefore good fruits come from the good trees. And he was already such self-situated, self-realized sage, Uttam Bhakta. Therefore, his first three children were Paramhamsas. Anayasyam api jayayam traya putra asanna uttamas tamaso raivata iti manvantaradipatyeya. The 28th verse speaks about the remaining three. First three became Paramhamsas, basically Brahmana, basically more than the Brahmanas. They were Brahmanical nature. The next three children, especially Uttama, Tamasa, Raivata, they became Manus of the second, third, and fourth Manvantaras. That is being told here in this verse. Yes, Mother, you can read this.
Yes, Prabhuji. In his other wife, Maharaj Priyavrata begot three sons named Uttam, Tamasa, Tamas, and Raivata. All of them later took charge of Manvantar millenniums.
So Chakravarti was saying they became the Manus of the third, fourth, and fifth Manvantaras. So yes, Mother, you can just purport.
In every day of Brahma, there are 14 Manvantaras. The duration of one Manvantara, the lifespan of one Manu, is 71 yugas. And each yuga is 4,320,000 years. Almost all the Manus selected to rule the Manvantaras came from the family of Maharaj Priyavrat. Okay. Three of them are particularly mentioned herein, namely Uttam, Tamasa, and Raivata.
Yes, so this is another wife. These three were born from the another wife. the Manu who became Manus. They had 2 wives.
So, Prabhuji, who is the current Manu and what is his role? What is he doing?
Yeah.
Who is the current Manu and
Vaibhav
what is his
Swami. Vaibhav
Vaibhav
Swami,
Swami.
7th. He has finished his 50 years.
Bhagavad Gita.
And what does he do? Like,
Um,
sorry,
Administration. Universal administration. Like,
because we know Indra, Chandra are there for the thing.
Brahmaji.
So, like, I was trying to understand what is the specific role of Manu
this
and where
comes,
does he
yeah,
stay?
this comes in the 8th chapter, 8th canto. 8th canto, first verse. 8th canto, first chapter, where each universe has a set of Manu, Indra, Saptarishi. Apart from that, there are 6 sets. One is Manu, then there is Saptarishi, then there is Indra, and 3 more personalities. That is what the administration of the whole universe maintains. Each manvantara has. That will come in the 8th canto in detail. I'll try to send you in the WhatsApp group that shloka. Then you understand what the Manu does. So that is what Manu, basically the administration, the physical, educational in terms of the Varnashram, Vedic, and spiritual nourishment is taken care by the Manu to set that standard. Administration, like a dean does for the university, something like that.
Yes, thank you, Bhai.
एवम् उपाशमायेनेषु स्वतनेषु अत जगति पतिर्जगतीम् अर्बुदानि एकादश परिवत्सराणाम् अव्याहता किल पुरुषकार सार संवृतदोरदण्ड युगलापीडित मोर्वी गुणस्तनित विरमित धर्म प्रतिपक्षो बहिष्मत्याश्चानुदिनम् एदमान प्रमोद प्रशरण यौशिन्य व्रीड प्रमोषित आसवालोक रुचिर श्वेल्लि आदिभि पराभ्युमान विवेक इवानव बुद्ध्यमान इव महामन बुभुजे. So what happened to Priyavrat? So that is being mentioned here. As once one gets married, like it's also mentioned in case of Lord Krishna, that he was surrounded by his wives and he used to again reciprocate with them according to the conjugal law of their wives. Here also, apparently, it was seen that Priyavrat was engaged in conjugal nuptial pastimes with his wife. That this is what this verse speaks about, that what happened to Priyavrat when he entered the Grastashram. Yes, who will read this? Sankarshan Prabhu or Sachindari Mataji, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
After Kavi, Mahavira, and Savana were completely trained in the Paramahamsa stage of life, Maharaj Priyavrat ruled the universe for 11 arbudas of years. Whenever he was determined to fix his arrow upon his bowstring with his 2 powerful arms, all opponents of the regulative principles of religious life would flee from his presence in fear of the unparalleled prowess he displayed in ruling the universe. He greatly loved his wife Barhishmati, and with the increase of days, their exchange of nuptial love also increased. By her feminine behavior, as she dressed herself, walked, got up, smiled, laughed, and glanced about, Queen Barhishmati increased his energy. Thus, although he was a great soul, he appeared lost in the feminine conduct of his wife. He behaved with her just like an ordinary man, but actually he was a great soul.
Chakravartipad mentions what is Arbuda. So according to Chakravartipad, he is quoting Sridhar Swami. Arbuda is 100 million. And he's quoting Jiva Goswami, Arbuda is 10 million. So it's like, yeah. It's a variety. Variety is the mother of enjoyment. So each acharyas can have their own unique contribution or thought processes. According to them, it's like, for according to him, 100 million. It's a question of detail, but actually it's million, more than 10 million. And Priyavat Maharaj ruled for almost like 11 crore years. That is what Chakravarti has to write. And basically, and nobody opposed him. The opposition was not in terms of fighting, the opposition was in terms of dharma. Yada yada hi dharmasya jnane bhavati bharata. So people were very strictly following the varnashram dharma, because that is what is the basic principle of a human form of life. Who is beyond varnashram? Who is accepted pure devotion service is beyond varnashram. Until the time they accept, it's like entry gate. Before you come to any of the engineering branches or medical branches, one has to go to first 11, 12 years of 1 to 10 standard, then the 11, 10, 12th. Then one gets to specialization. Similarly, pure devotion service is a specialization. But the basic is the varnashram. Without that basis, pure devotional service can be degenerated or denigrated. Like Aula Baula Saki Beki, what happened when Mahaprabhu left the world? There's so many apasampradayas who are quoting that we are devotees of Radha Krishna, but we are doing all nonsense, which again Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj had to really wrap up the whole thing, because Radha Kund has become Naraka Kund. So therefore, this Varnashram is like a protective barrier, which can, because the basis of Varnashram is Parahimsa, like Jiva Goswami quotes from Vishnu Puran, Parahimsa, Parastri, Paradhan. The follower of Varnashram Dharma is so convinced that he doesn't enjoy the other's property, he has no intention of enjoying other woman, and he has no intention of harming any living entity. This is the basis of Varnashram. So if we don't follow this and we want to be trying to practice pure devotional service, there's no question. So therefore, anybody who was opposing this thing, Priyavat Maharaj is very, very strong, and nobody could stand in front of with his bows. At the same time, it's mentioned here that because he had married, he had to deal with his wife as a husband, but he never lost his position as a great soul because he was a pure devotee, like Kardam Muni. By these things, he appeared to have lost his discrimination and forgotten his own self because of material attachment. This indicates that his conduct was difficult for ordinary people to understand, since his discrimination and intelligence actually remained intact. This is what Chakravarti writes. That means his intelligence was intact. The reason is given. He had a great mind. Maha Manaha. Maha Manaha. He had an inconceivable mind, because simultaneously he was attached and detached from material affairs. That is what, and when a person becomes pure devotee, Uttam Bhakta, in case of, again, yesterday we saw how Krishna deals with his wives. He deals as a reciprocation, because they want him to be his husband. But the Lord is not interested in terms of on the material level, but he's reciprocating as a soul wants to reciprocate with the Lord. In that way, he's trying to reciprocate. Similarly, these pure devotees, when they do all these activities, they are not lost. The passion or ignorance doesn't overcome them. They're intact. Yes, Mother, please read the purport. Dharma Pratipaksha. These 2 points are covered in this.
Only the highlighted one or the
Now you
whole
can read
purpose?
this you can read the whole thing also.
Whole.
Because
Okay.
that will make the sense, because otherwise some things, because I've been reading, I can understand, but yeah, if you're reading first time, it becomes you can read the whole thing.
Okay. In this verse, the word dharma pratipakshaha, opponents of religious principles, refers not to a particular faith but to varnashram dharma, the division of society socially and spiritually into 4 varnas: Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and 4 ashramas: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. To maintain proper social order and help the citizens gradually progress toward the goal of life, namely spiritual understanding, the principles of Varnashram Dharma must be accepted. From this verse, Maharaj Priyavrat appears to have been so strict in maintaining this institution of Varnashram Dharma that anyone neglecting it would immediately flee from his presence as soon as the king warned him by fighting or administering light punishment. Indeed, Maharaj Priyavrat would not have to fight, for simply because of his strong determination, they dared not disobey the rules and regulations of Varnashram Dharma. It is said that unless human society is regulated by Varnashram Dharma, it is no better than a bestial society of cats and dogs. Maharaj Priyavrat therefore strictly maintained Varnashram Dharma by his extraordinary unparalleled prowess. To maintain such a life of strict vigilance, one needs encouragement from his wife. In the Varnashram Dharma system, certain classes, such as the Brahmanas and Sannyasis, do not need encouragement from the opposite sex. Kshatriyas and Grihasthas, however, actually need the encouragement of their wives in order to execute their duties. Indeed, a Grihastha or Kshatriya cannot properly execute his responsibilities without the association of his wife. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally admitted that a Grihastha must live with a wife. Kshatriyas were even allowed to have many wives to encourage them in discharging the duties of government. The association of a good wife is necessary in a life of karma and political of affairs. To execute his duties properly, therefore, Maharaj Priyavrat took advantage of his good wife Barhishmati, who was always very expert in pleasing her great husband by properly dressing herself, smiling, and exhibiting her feminine bodily features. Queen Barhishmati always kept Maharaj Priyavrat very encouraged, and thus he executed his governmental duty very properly. In this verse, Eva has twice been used to indicate that Maharaj Priyavrat acted exactly like a henpecked husband and thereby seemed to have lost his sense of human responsibility. Actually, however, he was fully conscious of his position as a spirit soul, although he seemingly behaved like an acquiescent karmi husband. Maharaj Priyavrat thus ruled the universe for 11 arbudas of years. One arbuda consists of 100
It is 10 million, Mataji. 10 million.
10 million years, and Maharaj Priyavrat ruled the universe for 11 such arbudas.
Okay.
So, Prabhuji, I have a quick question.
Yes.
So, it is said that the Kshatriya and the Vaishya classes, they need encouragement from their wife for performance of their duties.
Grastas, Kshatriya and Grastas. Basically, what bifurcation Prabhupada made here is somebody is absorbed in 16.1 shloka you can refer. There it's mentioned Abhayam Atma Samshuddhim Jnana Yoga Vasiti Danam. Therefore, Vyasa, three things are mentioned. Yajna, Dana, Tapa. So there for Vaishya, for Vanaprasthas and Sannyasis. So for them, this is not required. So therefore, here it's mentioned Brahmanas and Sannyasis, they don't need encouragement. If somebody is at the level of Jnana. There are two parts actually.
Prabhuji, but Brahmanas were also Grihasthas, no?
No, I'm coming to that point. I'm explaining how the Vedic path of liberation is defined. There are three parts in this, which we generally cover in the Bhakti Shastri, first 6 chapters, the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where 4 types of duties are mentioned. So the first, if you accept the path of karma, there will be 3 yogas, which is spoken in Uddhava Gita also, and also in Bhagavad Gita also. First path is karma. Karma. And karma yoga is for those people who are in Varnashram. Anybody who is basically who is not entering into liberation, moksha, dharma, artha, kama, he is in the path of karma. As soon as the moksha comes into picture, he has 2 paths. One is jnana, another is bhakti. So, dharma, artha, kama, varnashram is mandatory. So that is like the entry point. I told first to 10th students, 12th students. So now after that 12th, either he can go to physics, he can go to mathematics, he can go to accounting, he can go anywhere. Similarly, based on the purva karma, present inclination, a person can get in touch with a jnani sannyasi, where he recommends him Nishkama Karma Yoga. So he's doing the activity, but in the form mode of Tyaga. And when he cultivates that, then his Antakaran becomes Shuddha. Then he can enter into the Jnana Marga, Jnana Yoga. Till that time, he's in Karma Marga only. It's like the entry point. So second option is he can come in touch with Bhakti Yoga, Shuddha Bhakta. If he comes in touch with Karma Mishra Bhakta, he will do Karma Mishra Bhakti. What is the meaning of Karma Mishra Bhakta? That Bhakta has conviction on his worldly duties for maintenance than Krishna Bhakti. I need to work, I need to earn, I need to accept this responsibility. Otherwise, Bhakti will not happen. Like we have many times you tell also, na, somebody comes, okay, you don't leave all these things, and suddenly because the whole family will come, society will start asking. Again, it's a different conviction. And another thing is, person is internally, he feels that I should do this, I should accept this one mission. That is Karma Mishra. He's doing Bhakti, but is also following the part of responsibility of earning. How it is a very thin layer. If a practitioner feels that my working, this money is maintaining me and has firm conviction on it, then it comes in the category of Karma Mishra. So somebody has come in the category of association of that, then he follows Karma Mishra. It's nothing but he does karma, but along with that, he's trying to do bhakti. He's trying to do bhakti. Second category is Jnana Mishra. I'm telling about bhakti path now. Jnana Mishra is a person Antakarana Shuddha. He's at the level of soul. And he's at that level, he has come to know bhakti process and he's trying to do bhakti. Example is Sukhdeva Goswami. Our example for Karma Mishra is Arto Artarti Jitnyasu. His example is Gajendra, Dhruva, and Naimisharanya sages. The example of Jnana Mishra is not at the level of body, he's at the level of soul. So in Jnana Mishra Bhakti is not very cheap. It's like somebody that level of soul is Jnana Mishra, it's not so. Therefore, Bhakti is Shuddha Bhakti, what Guru Goswami speaks about Uttam Bhakti is really high level actually. So Jnana Mishra Bhakti is Sukhdeva Goswami because he has a level of Jnana, he started practicing Bhakti by hearing from his father. And these are the two paths. Again, in Bhakti also, again, there are another path is 7.2930 speaks about Moksha Kami Bhakta, whose desire is to give up this material world and go back and back. Many people say, na, done with this life. I just want to go back and back to world. I just don't want to come back to this material world. There's Moksha Kama Bhakta, 7.2930 of Bhagavad Gita. And the fourth category of Bhakta is Yoga Mishra Bhakta, which is 18.3914. Where he has to leave a body in a particular time in Dakshinayana and Uttarayana. Dakshinayana he lives, then he has to again come back to this earth or go to Swarga, but again he has to accept a body. In Uttarayana he has to live, his follow rules and regulations. He can go to Brahmaloka and from there he can go up. But 18.13, 14, 15 speaks about Uttam Bhakta who can leave a body at any time. Or 7.19, which is Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samatma Sudurlabha, that speaks about Uttam Bhakta. So therefore, this 7th and 8th chapter are very important for this understanding. So in asking about this question about Brahmanas and Sannyasis, this Brahmanas and Sannyasis refer to the people who are at the level of Jnana Mishra Bhakta, the level of the soul. And this especially Grahasthas and this, what is being spoken there, along with Grahasthas, Kshatriyas, they are Karma Mishras in general. And therefore, they have to have that inspiration from their wives for the performance of this. That is what it is categorized here.
And Prabhuji, at the end of the Grahastha so then they are, in the Vanaprastha, so they are asked to, get detached. So that is correct, no?
Yes, yes.
So, because even this encouragement for wife is a temporary phase to do their duty.
25 to 50 years.
But ultimately, they also have to take to Vanaprastha and ultimately sannyas.
Yeah, that is what is shown in the Prutu Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj. Along with their wives, they go and do their strict austerities. Then they take Vanaprastha, and after Vanaprastha, then wife comes back. And then they go and take sannyas, and then they go back to Godhead. But this is particularly being spoken about this 25 to 50 years time. So in this time also the Brahmana and sannyasis, because sannyasis have nothing to do with opposite sex, and Brahmanas, they are at the level of jnana, so they don't need, because they're not driven by that thing, because the Shastras drive them. So even if they have wives, the Brahmana in general, because of the goodness, the inspiration comes from the Shastras. But here it's being spoken about the Kshatriyas and Grahasthas who are in touch with land, who are in touch with money, who are in touch with administration, and who have to deal with the life of people around, of the Praja. So their passion, ignorance, they have to deal with. Therefore, this has been there. That's the reason it's mentioned that even Kshatriya is allowed to marry more wives. That is the reason. Because for the inspiration, so that that inspiration is different. It's a mode's inspiration. Okay.
Thank you.
30th verse. Yavad avabhashayati suragiriam anuparikraman Bhagavan Adityo Vasudatalam Arde Naiva Pratapatya Ardenat Vachada Yati Tadahi Bhagavat Upasano Pachittati Purusha Prabhavas Tad Anabhinandan Samajavena Hatena Jyotirmayena Rajanim Apivinam Karishyamiti Saptakrit Vatsaranim Anupariyakrama Vitiya Iva Patangaha. So this verse speaks about how Privat Maharaj did a very extraordinary act of creating a second son to the first son. He was just following behind the sun. That is being spoken here in this verse. Yes, Mataji, please read this verse.
While so excellently ruling the universe, King Priyavrat once became dissatisfied with the circumambulation of the most powerful sun god. Encircling Sumeru hill on his chariot, the sun god illuminates all the surrounding planetary systems. However, when the sun is on the northern side of the hill, the south receives less light, and when the sun is in the south, the north receives less. King Priyavrat disliked this situation and therefore decided to make daylight in the part of the universe where there was night. He followed the orbit of the sun god on a brilliant chariot and thus fulfilled his desire. He could perform such wonderful activities because of the power he had achieved by worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So Chakrut
Should I?
was
Yeah.
right here that this seems to indicate that though the days were longer in summer, it was not excessively hot. Though the days became shorter in winter, the days were not excessively cold. Basically, in summer the days are very hot. In the winter, the days are very short and it's cold. Just to overcome that, like Shobiri, Priyavrat had two bodies, one as a king and as one as a son. Similarly, he was maintaining the administration as a king, and in another body, he was sitting on a chariot and he was trying to reflect the sun's energy to create cooling effect in the summer and the heating effect in winter. That was his thing, so that the living entities can be comfortable. Yes, Mataji. I think this whole purport can be read. I have not highlighted after this because uh, we have enough time to cover. Yes, you can read the whole purport.
Okay, Prabhuji. There is a Bengali saying which describes that someone is so powerful that he can make the night day and the day night. That saying is current because of the prowess of Priyavrat. His activities demonstrate how powerful he became by worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna is known as Yogeshwara, the master of all mystic powers. In Bhagavad Gita 18.78, it is said, wherever there is the master of all mystic powers, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, victory, fortune, and all other opulences are present. Devotional service is so powerful. When a devotee achieves what he wants to accomplish, it is not by his own mystic power, but by the grace of the Master of Mystic Power, Lord Krishna. By his grace, a devotee can accomplish wonderful things unimaginable even to the most powerful scientist. From the description in this verse, it appears that the sun moves. According to modern astronomers, the sun is fixed in one place, surrounded by the solar system. But here we find that the sun is not stationary, it is rotating in a prescribed orbit. This fact is corroborated by Brahma Samhita 5.52. Yes, यस्याज्ञ भ्रमति समृत यस्याज्ञया भ्रमति समृत कालचक्रः. The sun is rotating in its fixed orbit in accordance with the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. According to Jyotir Veda, ast- the science of astronomy in the Vedic literature, the sun moves for 6 months on the northern side of the Sumeru hill and for 6 months on the southern side. We have practical experience on this planet that when there is summer in the north, there is winter in the south, and vice versa. Modern materialistic scientists sometimes present themselves as knowing all the ingredients of the sun, yet they are unable to offer a second sun like Maharaj Priyavrat's. Although Maharaj Priyavrat devised a very powerful chariot as brilliant as the sun, he had no desire to compete with the sun god, for a Vaishnava never wants to supersede another Vaishnava. His purpose was to give abundant benefits in material existence. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks that in the months of April and May, the rays of Maharaj Priyavrat's brilliant sun were as pleasing as the rays of the moon, and in October and November, both morning and evening, that sun provided more warmth than the sunshine. In short, Maharaj Priyavrat was extremely powerful, and his actions extended his power in all directions.
Yes. So while circumambulating the sun, he created different planets. That is mentioned in the next shloka. Evahuha tad ratacharananeemikrita parikataste sapta sindhava asan yata eva krita shaptabo dvipaha. So he created 7 islands of the Bhumandala. Not of this planet Earth, but of the Bhumandala. We'll just discuss in this fifth canto 21 to 32 chapters, this Bhumandal section. What are these 7 islands? We'll be discussing there. Yes, Sankarshan Prabhu. Please read this next verse. Sankarshan.
When Priyavrat drove his chariot behind the sun, the rims of his chariot wheels created impressions that later become 7 oceans, dividing the planetary systems known as Bhumandala into 7 islands.
Yes, perfect.
As Priyavrat drove his chariot behind the sun, he created 7 different types of ocean and planetary systems, which all together are known as Bhumandal or Bhulok. In the Gayatri Mantra, we chant Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savituranam. Above the Bhuloka planetary system is Bhurloka, and above that is Swargloka, the heavenly planetary system. All these planetary systems are controlled by Savita, the sun god. By chanting the Gayatri Mantra just after rising early in the morning, one worships the sun god.
Jambu Plaksha Salmali Kusha Krauncha Shaka Pushkara Samnyastesham Parimanam Purvashmata Purvashmadaha Uttara Uttaro Yata Shankyam Vigunamanena Vahi Samantata Upaklaptaha. So many of the 7 islands are mentioned here, Dvipas. Please read for me.
The names of the islands are Jambu, Laksha, Salmali, Kush, Kraunch, Saka, and Pushkara. Each island is twice as large as the one preceding it, and each is surrounded by a liquid substance behind which is the next island.
Yes, Chakrut was mentioning. Please hear about the dimension of the continents. Outside of each ocean, the next continent is twice the breadth of the previous in all directions. So it's like if the first island is X, the ocean is X, then the second island will be 2X, and the ocean will be 2X, then the third island will be 4X, then the ocean will be 4X. So it's like it's a circular water body, and the island will go till 7 islands, till Loka Loka mountain. Yes, the ocean in each planet system has a different type of liquid. How they are situated is explained in the next verse. That is 33rd. क्षरोदिक्षूरशोदसुहृदो घ्रतोत्क्षिरोदधि मन्दोदसुदोदः सप्तजलादय सप्तद्वीपा परिका इवभ्यन्तरद्वीपसमान एककर्षेण यथानुपूर्वं सप्तस्वपि बहिर्द्वीपेषु पृथक् परित उपकल्पितस्तेषु जम्बो आदिषु बहिस्मतिपतिर् अनुव्रतानात्मजान् अग्निद्रे इत्मज्वाः यज्ञबाहु हिरण्यरेतो घृतपृष्ठमेधातिथिविति होत्र सप्न्यं यथा संख्येनैकैकास्मिन् एकम् एवाधिपतिं विदधे. So he created those 7 islands and he gave the Adipati of the 7 islands to his 7 children. 10 children, 3 became Paramhamsas and remaining 7. He gave one island to them to take care of it. Yes. Next, who's
The
there?
seven
Prabhu will give to next one. Shubha Lakshmi Mataji, can you read?
The 7 oceans respectively contain salt water, sugar cane, clarified butter, milk, emulsified yogurt, and sweet drinking water. All the islands are completely surrounded by these oceans, and each ocean is equally breadth to the island it surrounds. Maharaj Parikshit, the husband of Queen Barismati, gave sovereignty over these islands to his respective sons, namely Agnidra, Yajnabahu, Hiranyareka, Vitaprastha, Medhatithi, and Vitivotra. Thus they all became kings by the order of their father.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go to the next shloka. Duhitaram chorajasvatim namosanesh prayachat yashyam asid devayani nama kavyasutah. Yes, Matri, please read.
Priyavrat then gave his daughter Ujjaswati in marriage to Shukracharya, who begot in her a daughter named Devayani.
Devya, yes. Naivam Vedat Purushakaravrukramasya Pumsam Tadangrirajasajita Sadagunanam Itasadgunanam Chitram Vidura Vigata Sakradadalita Yannamadeyam Madhuna Sajahati Bandham. Yes, Madhu, please continue.
My dear king, a devotee who has taken shelter of the dust from the lotus feet of the Lord can transcend the influence of the 6 material worlds, namely hunger, thirst, lamentation, illusion, old age, and death, and he can conquer the mind and five senses. However, this is not very wonderful for a pure devotee of the Lord, because even a person beyond the jurisdiction of the 4 castes, in other words, an untouchable, is immediately released of bondage to material existence if he utters the holy name of the Lord even once.
So Prabhupada says, such prowess or influence is not surprising for those who conquer the 6 senses. Hard to conquer by the dust from the lotus of the Lord. Basically, when one does bhakti, what he cannot do. Rajasa also means Rajoguna. Thus, there is Viroda Alankara, ornament introducing contradiction. Even the outcast, person who is beyond the outcast, if just by chanting the holy name, he becomes qualified to the yajnas. So, what to speak of devotees like Priyavrat? So, here Chakravarti says that Sridhar Swami or Tanvam instead of what is mentioned here, one shloka is mentioned here. Yan namade aduna sa jahati bandam, jahati bandam. This word bandam means it's not just they can give up, if untouchable, chanting holy name can give up the material bondage. So what to speak of Priyavrat Maharaj? So it should come here Tanvam. Tanvam or Tattvam instead of Bandam. Bandam means the bondage of karma. Tanvam means the body. So when one practices Shuddh Bhakti, one does not see a person immediately give up his body and chanting once. However, basically what is being mentioned here is when a person chants the holy name of the Lord, he doesn't immediately give up his body on the first chanting. Thus the sentence means that karmas that are experienced in the body are destroyed. It means Tanu is there, Tanvam is there, but the karmas are destroyed. And Tattvam means that the elements from the Mahat Tattva to the earth, the gross and subtle body of the Jiva are destroyed. Physical body is there. The gross and subtle, whatever is there, everything is destroyed by the practice of bhakti. But the body remains by the inconceivable influence of the name of the Lord, since there is no alternative. This is what Chakravarti mentioned. Basically, Prarabdha, what is destroyed is gross, subtle, the karmas, but the body is intact by the influence of the name of the Lord. So that makes him qualified to do the yajnas. You can read this, Mataji, because of material body.
Because of the material body, every living entity in material existence is always disturbed by such gunas. 6 pains, hunger, thirst, lamentation, illusions, invalidity, and death. For another guna are the mind and 5 sense organs. Not to speak of a sanctified devotee, even a chandal, and of course, who is untouchable, is immediately freed from the material bondage if he utters the holy name of the Lord even once. Sometimes caste Brahmanas argue that unless one changes his body, he cannot be accepted as a Brahmin. For since the present body is obtained as a result of past actions, one who has in the past acted as a Brahmana takes birth in a Brahmana family. Therefore, they contend without such a Brahminical body, one cannot be accepted as a Brahmin. Herein it is said, however, that even a Vidura Vigata, a Chandal, a fifth class untouchable, is freed if he utters the holy name even once. Being freed means that he immediately changes his body. Sanatana Goswami confirms this. Yatha Kanchanatam Yati Ansham Rasavidhanam Tatha Diksha Vidhanena Vijatvam Jayate Nirmam. When a person, even though a chandal, is initiated by a pure devotee into chanting the holy name of the Lord, his body changes as he follows the instructions of the spiritual master. Although one cannot see how his body has changed, we must accept on the grounds of the authoritative statements of the Shastras that he changes his body. This is to be understood without argument. If this verse clearly says, Sajahati Bandham, he gives up his material bondage. The body is a symbolic representation of material bondage according to one's karma. Although sometimes we cannot see the gross body changing, chanting the holy name of the Supreme Lord immediately changes the subtle body. And because the subtle body changes, the living entity is immediately freed from material bondage. After all, changes of the gross body are conducted by the subtle body. After the destruction of the gross body, the subtle body takes the living entity from its present gross body to another. In the subtle body, the mind is predominant, and therefore, if one's mind is always absorbed in remembering the activities of the lotus feet of the Lord, he is to be understood to have already changed his present body and become purified. Therefore, it is irrefutable that a chandal or any fallen or low-born person can become a Brahmin simply by the method of bona fide initiation.
Devam aparanta bala parakrama ekada tu devarshir charananu शयाननु पतितगुणविसर्गसंसर्गेनानिर्वृतम् इवात्मानं मन्यमान आत्मनिर्वेद idam aha. Yes, Jagannath Govind Prabhu, would like to read?
Yes, Prabhu. While enjoying his material opulences with full strength and influence, Maharaj Priyavrat once began to consider that although he had fully surrendered to the great saint Narada and was actually on the path of Krishna consciousness, he had somehow become again entangled in material activities. Thus, his mind now became restless and he began to speak in a spirit of renunciation.
This verse shows his withdrawal from material enjoyment and the increasing strength of renunciation. He appeared to get no satisfaction from contact with the material world after having surrendered to the feet of Narada. Offering respect to him as Guru, Anushayana, even though he felt inner bliss since he was unattached to the ruling the kingdom, felt disgust with the kingdom. That is the significance of the word Iva in the verse. Iva. Devarshi Charananu Ivatmanah Manyamana Atmanirveda Idam Aha. Yes, it's a very big purport, but yes, we'll read it because we have only 4 verses remaining. You can read Prabhuji in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
Prabhuji,
In
1
Srimad
minute.
Yes, Rishi Kumar Prabhu.
Prabhu, but somehow, see, the best part is that he is realizing that he's entangled. Most of the time, it's lost. It's realization itself is half actually solution.
Yes.
I have done a mistake or I'm in problem itself is half solution. But I'm going to say, very surprised to see that he realized that somehow or other he is getting entangled into this thing. This is a great achievement.
Yeah. In the case of pure devotees, how it is, it's like he followed the order of Brahmaji, and now he understood I've done it. I've delegated my 7 islands to my 7 children. Now again, it's a time for me to go back to bhajan. So it's like that is continuously going inside. It is going on in terms of but externally also he wants to sit down and he doesn't want to get into the activities of the modes. That is the thing here. But again, for us, Prabhupada is writing this purport. So what is the harm? Even if one practices bhakti and one gives up opportunity, what is the harm? Therefore, Prabhupada is quoting this shloka here. So in his case, it was like he is at his level because he is Uttam Bhakta. He has not degenerated or denigrated. So, but he is still, that is the consciousness, still he's thinking that also has obstacle and he just want to completely engage into 24 hours Shravanam Kirtanam Bhakti. That is the glory. That is the taste of Shuddha Bhaktas. As you told. So his realization is not like a relation of ours. His realization that he is able to do 24 hours Kirtan. That is his realization.
Yes, thank you.
Very good.
Yeah.
Jagannath Govind Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Tektva sudharmam charanambujam hare bhajannapa patetatu yadi yatvakvavapadram abuddhamushya kim kovartapto bhajatam swadharmataha. Yes, 1 verse 4 seconds.
One who has forsaken his material occupations to engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometime fall down while in an immature stage, yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non-devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duties, does not gain anything. If one somehow or other comes to the shelter of a great Vaishnava, take to Krishna consciousness because of sentiment or realizations, but in the course of time falls down because of immature understanding, he is not factually fallen, for his having engaged in Krishna consciousness is a permanent asset. If one falls down, therefore, his progress might be checked for a certain time, but it will again become manifest at an opportune moment. Although Priyavrata Maharaj was serving according to the instructions of Narad Muni, meant for going back home, back to Godhead, he returned to material affairs at the request of his father. In due course of time, however, his consciousness for serving Krishna reawakened by the grace of his spiritual master Narada. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 6.41, Suchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoge Brastau Vijayate. One who falls down from the process of Bhakti Yoga is again offered the opulence of the demigods. And after enjoying such material opulences, he is given a chance to take birth in a noble family of a pure Brahmana or in a rich family to be given the chance to revive his Krishna consciousness. This actually happened in the life of Priyavrata. He is a most glorious example of this truth. In due course of time, he no longer wanted to enjoy his material opulences and his wife, kingdom, and sons. Instead, he wanted to renounce them all. Therefore, after having described the material opulences of Maharaj Priyavrata, Sukdev Goswami in his verse describes his tendency for renunciation. The words Devarashi Charana Nusayana indicates that Maharaj Priyavrata, having fully surrendered to the great sage Devarashi Narada, was strictly following all the devotional process and regulative principles under his direction. In regards to strictly following the regulative principles, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Dandavat Pranams, Tana Anu Patitaha, by immediately offering obeisances dandavata unto the spiritual master and by strictly following his directions, the student becomes advanced. Maharaj Priyavrata was doing all these things regularly. As long as one is in the material world, he has to be under the influence of the modes of material nature, guna visarga. It is not that Maharaj Priyavrata was freed from material influence because he possessed all material opulences. In this material world, both the very poor man and the very rich man are under material influences. For both wealthy and poverty are creations of the modes of material nature. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 3.27, Prakriti Kriyamanani Guna Karmani Sarvashaha. According to the modes of material nature, we acquire the material nature, gives us facility for material enjoyment.
Aho asadva
Prabhuji, I have a quick question, Prabhuji.
Yes.
So, in the initial phase, we are hearing that, Priyavrata Maharaj, is very exalted and he was not at all, he was Mahamanoha. That means he was acting though as though he was, attached to his wife. However, he was not. But here we see that the modes are so powerful. This is my understanding. Please correct me. That even a person at the stature of, Priyavrata Maharaj feels bogged down by the material energy and the modes, and that's why he becomes disgusted. So, is this understanding correct, Prabhuji?
Just now I spoke, same thing was raised by Rishi Kumar Prabhu.
Mm-hmm.
So here two things Prabhupada giving the purport.
Mm-hmm.
If you see this thing, Priyavrata Maharaj's case is he is a Uttam Bhakta. So for Uttam Bhakta, not able to engage in 24-hour Shravan Kirtan is an impediment. And for a person who is not Uttam Bhakta, basically for people who are like practicing Karma Mishra, especially for Karma Mishra, like most of us. I'm telling Karma Mishra doesn't mean that we are doing Karma, but basically for us the Karma, depending on Karma, is much more than Bhakti.
Yes.
Activity, in Varnashram in terms of Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha. So the modes becomes active in our case. For us, it's like ocean, bank of ocean, we are there and the ocean comes and hits us and we wake up. But in the case of people who are Shuddha Bhaktas, it's not the modes. It's they are at Uttam Bhakta and they have come to the Madhyam Adhikari to administer in the case of Priyavrat. And that coming down to that level and getting into this administration and doing all these activities to follow the order of the superior, it's like he doesn't want to do it, but he's asked to do it. And what he likes he likes Shuddha Bhakti, Shuddha Bhajan. What is that? 24 hours, Shravana Adi, Kirtana, Bhajanam Adi. So therefore, That is the reason he's getting disgusted.
Ah,
Not because of, like in our case, when we are in practicing, like it's like someone else has popped up. That is not it. That
ah.
is not his
Not
lamentation.
like ours, Bhoga Tyaga, Bhoga Tyaga.
Yeah, his lamentation is unable to do that.
So it is like Vipralamba,
Yes.
separation from
Yeah, that is a
pure
different
devotion.
stage. It is a different stage.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, Prabhupada is
Thank
writing
you.
here. But when Prabhupada is writing the purport here, first purport is for Shuddha Bhakta. When Shuddha Bhakta, because of some reason, there is a slip or there is a fall, immediately there is no loss because he is immediately reinstated because they are not on the bodily platform. But the second here, Srimatam Suchinam Srimatam Gya, it is for a practicing Vaishnava who is not yet Shuddha Bhakta. Because then in the next life will take another birth and it take birth in a rich family or a Brahmin family and continues bhakti from there. Okay, there are two different. When Prabhupada is trying to speak, Prabhupada is trying to speak for both personalities. There's a yoga ladder basically. So one yoga ladder is the first paragraph is for Shuddha Bhakta. The second one is for practicing Karma Mishra Bhakta because they're not able to complete it. Then what happens? Again, they will be taking birth and then from there they'll continue. Yeah, it's like
Yes.
text and context are changing here. So Prabhupada is giving for both.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the clarification.
Yes. Avo asadav anustitam yad abhiniveshito ham indriyer avidya rachita vishama vishayanda kupe tad alam amushya vanitaya vinod mrigam mam dig iti gayaham chakara. So this is he is condemning himself. Although he's practicing it for superior's pleasure, but his separation from the Shuddha Bhakti is so intense that he's like, see, how can somebody who was a sleeper who falls, can he tell like this? He can tell like this, not from the heart. Yes, I think Jagannath going to have finished it. 2 verses. Surikant Krishna Prabhu, Raj Gauri Mataji, if you're there, would like to read, or should I go ahead with somebody else?
I can read, Pro.
Please read.
The king thus began criticizing himself. Alas, how condemned I have become because of my sense gratification. I have now fallen into material enjoyment, which is exactly like a covered whale. I have had enough. I am not going to enjoy anymore. Just see how I have become like a dancing monkey in the hands of my wife. Because of this, I am condemned.
Yes. Now Prabhupada speaks about how the condemned this material world is. You can read the purport, full purport.
Bro, 1 minute, bro.
Yeah.
This we see in the case of Devahuti and Kardamuni. Devahuti felt that, right? In her case also.
Yes, because again, when after 9 daughters, the Kardamuni was about to leave. Vanchito, that time she was feeling that I am being cheated by the material energy, Vanchitosmi. Because I accepted Kardamuni, who was a devotee, but instead of accepting spiritual advancement, I accepted material benefits. And then she asks him, give me a son who can guide me. Then the Pildev is born.
So we hear from scriptures that there are these two examples. I mean to say, a woman selecting a husband just based on hearing about him. One is about Krishna, Rukmini and Krishna, and another is about Devahuti and Kardamuni. Any other examples, Prabhu, like that, where a woman selected a husband just by hearing the qualities about that person?
Most of the examples in Varnashrama are like that only. And if you see in Bhagavatam and anywhere, Kshatriyas have Swayamvar. But in general, at that time, the Varnashram becomes so powerful that the training by the parents to the children is so powerful. The children are convinced, are so dependent and convinced, and they're confident that whatever my parents will take a decision that is best for me. So most of it's not 1, 2, maximum 100% it was like that. One here, exceptions were different. 1, 2 exceptions, like right now it's like exceptions has become majority. But in the Vedic time, that was a thing. Because the training has its effect. People who have the maturity, it's not only just age maturity. They also had that varnashram maturity as well as devotional maturity.
You mean to say the girl's mother and the father used to actually, keep on having that thing in mind, and the girl would indirectly know that, these are the qualities of that boy, right?
That was the training mother used to give to the daughters. What should one daughter search for in a husband? Because girls used to not go to Gurukul, only boys used to go. So boys used to be trained by Guru and Guru Patni, and the girls used to be trained by mothers. And that training was like the way Devuti has received, the way Anusuya has received. There is a different training which mothers used to give the particular training. And what the training was of Sheila, chastity, character, uh, growth of a child, and cooperating with the husband for every activities in his life. There is happiness, distress, sukh, dukkha, accepting. Because when Devuti came, she was a princess, but then Kardam Muni was a mendicant, and she had to actually go through that hardship of life, because that is what is meaning of wife. But then when he was convinced, when he was full, when he was happy, then she showed up the whole mystic opulences.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, Suryakant Krishna, please read the purport.
Yeah. Perfect. How condemned with the advancement of material knowledge can be understood from the behavior of Maharaj Priyavat. He performed such wonderful acts as creating another sun, which this modern scientists can.
I think your voice is breaking, Prabhuji. Is it for me only, for all others?
Feeling instant gratification.
Yes,
Ruling
it's
is
breaking, bro.
Suryakant
Am I
Krishna,
audible?
your voice is breaking. I think
Okay. Maybe
network,
because of it. I'm trying.
yeah, network match.
Yeah,
No
probably
issues.
network issue.
Then what? Only I'll ask somebody else. Yeah, I'll ask somebody else to. Sankarshan Kunda
Okay.
Prabhu, you wanted to read, na? Yes, please read.
Yes. He performed such wonderful acts as creating another sun, which shined during the night, and creating a chariot so great that its wheels formed vast oceans. These activities are so great that modern scientists cannot even imagine how such things can be done. Maharaj Priyavrat acted very wonderfully in the material field of activities, but because he was dealing in sense gratification, ruling his kingdom and dancing to the indication of his beautiful wife, he personally condemned himself. When we think about this example of Maharaj Priyavrat, we can just consider how degraded is the modern civilization of materialistic advancement. Modern so called scientists and other materialists are very satisfied because they can construct great bridges, roads, and machines. But such activities are nothing comparable to those of Maharaj Priyavrat. If Maharaj Priyavrat could condemn himself in spite of his wonderful activities, how condemned we are in our so called advancement of material civilization. We can conclude that such advancement has nothing to do with the problems of the living entity entangled within this material world. Unfortunately, modern man does not understand his entanglement and how condemned he is, nor does he know what kind of body he is going to have in the next life. From a spiritual point of view, a great kingdom, beautiful wife, and wonderful material activities are all impediments to spiritual advancement. Maharaj Priyavrat had served the great sage Narad sincerely. Therefore, even though he had accepted material opulences, he could not be deviated from his own task. He again became Krishna conscious as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. In devotional service, there is no loss or diminution, and even a small service rendered in devotional life is sufficient to save one from the greatest danger. Such renunciation as Maharaj Priyavrata is possibly only by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Generally, when people are powerful or when they have a beautiful wife, a beautiful home, and material popularity, they become more and more entangled. Priyavrat Maharaj, however, having been completely trained by the great sage Narad, revived his Krishna consciousness in spite of all impediments.
Next verse. Rishi Kumar, would you like to read the next verse?
Yes, bro.
By the grace.
Right.
Okay, I have not recited this verse. Shloka, it's long. परदेवता प्रसादादिगतात्म प्रत्यामर्शेणानुप्रवृत्त्यभिः पुत्रेभ्य इमां यथा दायं विपज्य भुक्तभोगान् च महिषीं मृतकम् इव सः महाविभूतिम् अपहाय स्वयं निहितनिर्वेदो हृदि गृहीतहरि विहाराणुबो भावो भगवतो नारदस्य पदवीं ससार. Yes.
By the grace of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Maharaj Priyavrat reawakened to senses. He divided all his earthly possessions among his obedient sons. He gave everything, including his wife, with whom he had enjoyed so much sensitivity, and his great and opulent kingdom, and he completely renounced all attachment. His heart, having been cleansed, became a place of pastimes for the Supreme Personality of God. Thus, he was able to return to the path of Krishna consciousness and spiritual life and resume the position he has attained by the grace of great Saint Narada. So, again, glorification of Guru is there. Purport. As enunciated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Shikshashtakam, Keto Darpana Marjinam Bhava Mahabhava. As soon as one's heart is clean, the blazing fire of material existence is immediately extinguished. Our hearts are meant for the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of God. This means that one should be fully Krishna conscious, thinking of Krishna as he himself advises. Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhya jiva namastu. This should be our only business. One whose heart is not clean cannot think of the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme God. But if one can once again place the Supreme Person God in his heart, he very easily becomes qualified to renounce material attachment. Mayavadi philosophers, yogis, and jnanis try to give up this material world simply by saying, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, the whole world is false. There is no use of it. Let us take to Brahman. Such heretical knowledge will not help us. If we believe that Brahman is the real truth, we have to place within our hearts the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, as Maharaj Amrish did. Savaya Manha Krishna Pradar Vidyo. One has to fix the lotus feet of the Lord within his heart. Then he gets the strength to be freed from material entanglement. Maharaj Priyavrat was able to give up his opulent kingdom, and he also gave up the association of his beautiful wife as if she was a dead body. However beautiful one's wife and however attractive her body features, one is no longer interested in her when her body is dead. We praise a beautiful woman for her body, but that same body, when bereft of his spiritual soul, is no longer interested to any lusty man. Maharaj Priyavrat was so strong by the grace of God that even though his beautiful wife was alive, he could give up her association exactly like one is forced to give the association of a deadly wife. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Na dhanam na janam na sundaram kavitam va jagadisha kame mama janmani janmanishwari bhavata bhakti ahetu ki goi. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I have desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. For one who desires to advance in spiritual life, attachment to material opulence and attachment to beautiful life are two great impediments. Such attachments are condemned more than society. Therefore, anyone desiring to cross beyond material sin must, by the grace of Krishna, be freed from attachment to woman and money. When Maharaj Priyavrat became completely free from these attachments, he could again peacefully follow the principles instructed by the great sage Narada. Very powerful purpose.
Yeah. Woman and money. Same thing comes in Bhagavatam first canto, third chapter, one verse, and also in 16th chapter, first 3 verses. तस्याः एव एत श्लोका प्रियव्रतकृतं कर्म को नु कुर्यात् विनेश्वरं यो नेमि निम्नैरकोरोच चायं gnam sapta varidim. There are many famous verses regarding Maharaj Prabhupada's activities. No one but the Supreme Person of Godhead could do what Maharaj Prabhupada has done. Maharaj Prabhupada dissipated the darkness of the night, and with the rims of his great chariot, he excavated 7 oceans.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
see, everywhere we hear about, man giving up the attachment of woman. But I'm to say, are there in places where it says that women give up the attachment for the husband or for the family, like that?
No, actually, how the Vedic text follows, it follows the Varnashram. And actually, according to Varnashram, it's like, in general, men are attached to women. A woman, their attachment to man is not the way men attached to woman. It's the facility, it's the shelter, it's the protection. That is how it is. So, the lording over mentality or tendency, it's there a lot in men, especially if it is a trained society, if it's a Varnashram society, and that is the reason that is told here that whenever the ends, because again, woman, in their case, it's like uh, first 25 years, and after getting married, the whole thing again after the vanaprastha stage, again they have to go back with the children and stay there and focus on their own duties, taking care of the grandsons, son, children. The activity is there. Especially when a person is in Grihastha ashram, the attachment between man and woman is there, but as soon as the child is born, the whole focus goes on the child for a woman.
Yeah.
So that is how it is. But for a man, if he is responsible, if that kind of samskara is done, then that is not much a deal. But still,
So can we say that, when we see a woman seems to be attached to family or children, actually it's not attachment, it's probably an affection or maybe, some type of emotional connection, like that we say?
basically it's a shelter altar. The attachment is not like gross like man.
Yeah, I understood your point though.
Yes.
But externally we see that woman is
When
attached.
they're
It's not
trying to,
attachment,
it's
it's
about
affection.
socializing, it's about festivities, it's about dressing up, it's about taking new clothes, but for a particular function. It's more of the nature of woman is in terms of dressing nicely, wearing nicely, exhibiting it, expanding the whole festivities. And therefore, Shastras mainly speak for the men. Because Srimad Bhagavatam is the Vedic scripture which is coming from gone old ages. Therefore, the men are told here that he could give the attachment. Traditionally, what happens? Vanaprastha, men and husband wife are together. After the Vanaprastha, the woman goes back to again the care of a son. But the husband, he goes to take sannyas ahead. And therefore, for him, that is very rigid. And for woman, chastity. For a woman, it's a chastity. Till the end of her life, it's like the chastity to the husband is like in case of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's wife also only can see. Also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was incarnation of him, Lord himself. She used to chant the holy names and she used to pick the rice and she used to cook those rice. So for them, the thing is, because wherever the husband goes, the wife follows. That is Varnashram thing.
Yeah. So we see that in present context, especially in India, the wives are very chaste, women are very chaste. And I would say that's a by default thing which is accepted or, expected from women in India. And they also very nicely exhibit. Obviously, there are fights between husband and wife, but chastity is very much there. But unfortunately, it has lost up in the other countries. Very much lost up. Very, very degraded in that sense. I feel so. And I don't know in few years afterwards, what will happen in India also. We don't know. At least now it is there. But in other places, it is very dangerous. It is not there.
It's about Varnashram. The degree of Varnashram is there to that degree that training continues. That is the reason we should have Devi Varnashram. So wherever Varnashram is not spent like outside India, the whole sanskaras are gone. Because for anything you need to have experienced person. To train woman, you need to have experienced woman. To train man, you should have experienced man. Then the legacy continues. So outside Varnashram, both are not there. Therefore, it becomes tough.
Really, like Prabhupada said, cats and dogs, it's actually like that.
Yeah, that's there, that's there. So therefore, we can't in the name of pure devotional service compromise following Varnashram rules and regulations.
Yeah. That's very yes. And actually, if we see in a mature way, Varnashram doesn't comes in way of pure devotional service also.
Yes,
That's
it assists.
in a mature say.
It is like a fencing. It's like a net. It's like a net safety belt. It's safety belt.
So probably, I was just also thinking that when since Prabhuji raised the thing of foreign countries where prostitution is a big problem, and we are also seeing in India nowadays, some women are even killing their husbands or so-called to be husbands just because they have had some extramarital this or that. So the Shastra, I think, also gives some general understanding even to women. I recollect one verse from Mother Pingala's story, where it is said that Tatha Sanchidya Kantasham Sukham Siswata Pingala. That means she is tormented by material attraction and she, thinks that this person will love me, that person will love me, like that. And then at the end, she completely gives up. And then she is Nairashtam Paramam Sukham. Asha hi Paramam Dukham, Nairashtam Paramam Sukham. Tatha Sanchidya. She breaks that attachment and then becomes completely spiritual. So is that point? But obviously, she is not in Varnashrama. That before, as you said, she is in the previous life is in prostitution. So, but the Shastra, I think, gives input to everybody in all situations. Can you say that, Prabhu?
I could hear what you could always Pingala's thing, Asha Paramam Dukkam, Nirashahi Paramam Sukham, because the sound was little reverberating. So one thing
I think there is an echo. Ramkishore Prabhu, there is an echo at your place, maybe.
Just a second. So it is Ashahi Paramam Dukkham, Nairashyam Paramam Sukham,
that is
Tatha Sanchidya Kantasham.
11th canto, Avadut Brahman. Sorry, this.
So what my point was that the Shastra gives every inputs for everybody in their situations. So what we were discussing is Varnashrama. So Varnashrama, yes, women are very chaste. But even if someone is outside, the Shastra also gives medicine to them also. Because Mother Pingala was in prostitution.
Even she was also part of Varnashram. So in Varnashram, even prostitutes have their place.
Exactly. But I mean,
they are also devotees. Because
yes,
their position they are into that. Even Dwarkas, there are so many prostitutes welcoming Krishna and when Krishna is coming. And they have been devotees. Therefore, it's like understanding of what is actually bhakti and how the bhakti works. It's little tricky. So they are there because Pingala allowed Avadut Brahman Dattatreya to take rest in her courtyard. She developed that realization. That is what Chakravarti gives the commentary. Because of service to Dattatreya, Avadut Brahman, she developed that realization that Nirashahi Param Sukham, and then he got that renunciation. It's a mercy of Dattatreya, whose incarnation. That was the secret there. So when it's not there, then some Vaishnavas, Shuddha Bhaktas, mercy has to be there. That can awaken. Like in case of Prabhupada going to Gauri, Prabhupada going to
Correct. So the point was because Prabhuji raised outside India situation. That is why I tried to take this parallel that the mentality behind the Paschatya is that only,
Bhoga.
right? Unrestricted
Bhoga.
sense gratification.
It's a bhoga yoni.
Bhoga vritti. And Shastra gives medicine to the bhoga vritti also.
Yeah.
And it gives us various examples.
Yeah. If whenever the varnashram is not there, if they are able to get association of pure devotees, they can easily transcend.
Yes.
Okay, there are many excellent verses famous all over the world concerning the activities of Maharaj Priyavrat. He is so celebrated that his activities are composed compared to those of Supreme Person of Godhead. Sometimes a sincere servant and devotee of the Lord is also called Bhagavan. Sri Narada is called Bhagavan, and Lord Shiva and Vasudeva are also sometimes called Bhagavan. This designation, Bhagavan, is sometimes conferred upon a pure devotee by the grace of the Lord, so that he will be very highly esteemed. Maharaj Priyavrat, such a devotee. भूसंस्थानं कृतं येन शरीद्गिरिवनादिभिः सीमा च भूतनिर्वृत्यै द्वीपे द्वीपे विभागशः. To stop the quarreling among the different peoples, Maharaj Priyavrat marked boundaries at rivers and at edges of mountains and forests so that no one would trespass upon another's property. So he arranged the earth with continents and made boundaries by rivers for the happiness of the leaders of the people so that they could exist without quarreling. So Prabhupada writes about how Nishada, Prithu Maharaj gave position of Nishada, they were given, like Prithu Maharaj also created this bifurcation. This is also mentioned from the third line I'm speaking. It's also mentioned in the relation to Prithu Maharaj, who was born from the dead body of his father by the manipulation of great sages. Maharaj Puthu's father was very sinful, and therefore a black man called Nishada was first born from his dead body. And the Nishada race was given a place in the forest because by nature they are thieves and rogues. As animals are given place in the various forests and hills, men who are like animals are also destined to live there. One cannot be promoted to civilized life unless one comes to Krishna consciousness. For by nature one is destined to live in a particular situation according to one's karma and association with the modes of nature. If men want to live in harmony and peace, they must take to Krishna consciousness, for they cannot achieve the highest standard of while absorbed in bodily concept of life. Maharaj Priyavrat divided the surface of the globe into different islands so that each class of men would live peacefully and not clash with others. The modern idea of nationhood has gradually developed from the divisions made by Maharaj Priyavrat. Bhaumam divyam manusham cha mahitvam karmayogajam yaschakre nirayopamyam paurashano janapriya purushano janapriya. As a great follower and a devotee of the sage Narada, Maharaj Priyavrat considered hellish the opulences he had achieved by the dint of fruitive activities and mystic power, whether in the lower or heavenly planetary system or in human society. Srila Goswami has said that the position of a devotee is so super excellent that a devotee does not consider any material opulence worth having. There are different types of opulences on earth, in heaven, in lower planet system like Patala. A devotee, however, knows that they are all material, consequently is not at all interested in them. 2.59 Bhagavad Gita Param Drishvani Vartate. Sometimes yogis and gnanis voluntarily give up all material opulences to practice their system of liberation and taste spiritual bliss. However, they frequently fall down because artificial renunciation of material opulences cannot endure and must have superior taste in spiritual life. Then he can give up material opulence. Maharaj Priyavrat had already tasted spiritual bliss, and therefore he had no interest in any of the material achievements available in the lower, higher, or middle planetary system. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to the 5th canto, 1st chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Activities of Maharaj Priyavrat. Thank you so much for joining. We have concluded the 1st chapter as we decided. Again, in the next week, Saturday, we'll have the 2nd chapter, and Sunday, we'll be having the test. Please prepare for the test. We will not postpone it again. So, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So grateful to you.
Hare Krishna, thank you.